The book of Hebrews makes a claim which at first may make us uncomfortable. In 2:10, the author says, "For it was fitting that he, for whom and by whom all things exist," that's Jesus, "in bringing many sons to glory, should make the founder of their salvation perfect through suffering." Jesus was made perfect? But didn't the author of Hebrews also say that he was without sin and the exact imprint of God's nature? The key to understanding this passage are the Greek words translated here as "it was fitting" and "made perfect," and how they work together. Let's deal first with made perfect. When we think of what it means to be made perfect, we usually think of it in terms of improvement. Something that was not quite so good is fixed up and revamped. And then perfection. Version 2.0. But that's not what the author of Hebrews is talking about. Instead, he's saying two other things. First, that suffering brought Jesus to his goal of bringing many sons and daughters to glory. His death was the means by which he accomplished what he had set out to do by his incarnation, the forgiveness of sins and the redemption of humanity. Secondly, in the Greek version of the Old Testament, the verb behind this phrase is used to refer to the ceremony which qualified someone for priestly service. That this is also on the author's mind is evident from what he says further down in 2 verse 17. "Therefore, he had to be made like his brothers in every respect, so that he might become a merciful and faithful high priest in the service of God, to make propitiation for the sins of the people." So the author is not saying that Jesus was improved by suffering. Instead, that it both enabled him to reach his goal of the redemption of humanity and qualified him as priest, fully able to represent humanity before God. This is why it was fitting that God used suffering to bring Jesus to his goal and qualify him for priesthood. This statement makes the astonishing claim that for God, it was appropriate, or even it was to be expected that he would do this. It could be expected for two reasons. Because we needed a high priest who would both be able to fully represent us as a human being before God and to understand our weakness in order to offer grace in times of need. And because we could expect that the God who created the world would do whatever it took to redeem that same world, bringing us back into right relationship with himself, even going so far as to suffer and die. Suffering didn't improve Jesus, but it did qualify him to represent us as our great and merciful high priest. And that he submitted to this suffering in order to become so is exactly what we would expect of the God who both creates us and redeems us.